There was a gentleman that wrote a book, and I've seen this guy before. He's like the expert on ants. The title of the story was The Jane Goodall of Ants. And it was a pretty interesting thing. And I love ants are very, very advanced, and there's the diversity. I find bees fascinating because, you know, they have like this culture. There's a queen, and there's the males are the drones that are only there for mating, and it's the females that are the worker bees that do the group of that. And it's all, you know, I talk about anti-authoritarianism enough a lot. Well, not on Fez Night, but other times, and you know, and I am for, in many ways, individuality. But as a society, sometimes I lean towards, you know, the group. You know, things, as individuals, we can do stuff to make it better for all of us, that we do need to think of other people besides ourselves. And bees and ants are good examples of that. But the bees, honeybees at least, there's not too much diversity between the way they operate, and but ants, there's a lot of diversity. There's one example of where ants actually developed farming. They developed a domesticated fungus that cannot survive in the wild, the same way that our wheat and animals that are just domesticated cannot survive in the wild, and so they've millions of years, I don't know. I mean, I don't have the paper in front of me, but it's been for a very long time ago. They evolved and figured out how to grow this fungus that only they can grow, and they tend it. These are like, they have like these underground farms, and they grow the fungus and they live on it. It's like their farm. There's Argentinian ants. Oh man, I could go on and on, but the Argentinian ants that invaded California, I think other parts of the country, those little tiny ants. Do you know they're pushing out all the other ants, driving them to extinction? And it's because they don't follow the rule. Many ants that are battling will reach a point where they're fighting, they're done with the fighting, and they create a sort of no man's land, like a zone, like they have between North Korea and South Korea, and then they sort of like stay off as individuals. But the Argentinian ants, because they evolved in a place where that's constantly flooded, and they're nearly all wiped out. Annually, they're flooded out. That they have no checkpoint in that. They're meant to spread out, and I remember reading that there's this ant colony. It's a single group of ants that have grown and grown and grown that stretches, don't get me wrong, but it was some amazing, like the breadth of these ant occupation. I want to say it was from Sacramento to all of Southern California. Then there's oh man, there's just, the ants are fascinating, and to me they're all examples of different human cultures or types of government, you know, an agrarian culture, but they're all sort of follow sort of a group mentality, a sort of a perfect form of communism. And I mean, you know, about all you're going to get is like the queen ant getting special treatment. Other than that, everything else is egalitarian. There's and I hope you use the right word there. You've got your military and your scouts and the workers that bring back food, etc., etc. That's why I find ants so fascinating, and bees. As allegories for humans. That one movie, when I was dating this gal. Sure I can say her name was Belen, which was a pretty interesting, different kind of name. I think it means Bethlehem in Spanish. And we went to go see that movie when it first came out, Ants with a Z, A-N-T-Z, and it had voices of Sylvester Stallone, I believe Sharon Stone, and even Dan Aykroyd was in it, and I want to say Christopher Walken too. And the main character was voiced by Woody Allen, who I think wrote most of the script. And when we came out of that movie, and it sort of dealt sort of like a socialist society, a sort of cross between a monarchy and socialism. And Bell Lynn came out, when he came out of the movie, she goes, that main character reminded me of you. And I took it as a compliment, you know? Anyway. I think it was so much better than A Bug's Life. It came out about the same time. And The Bug's Life was good, but it was not as good as Ants. Ants had something really to say, you know, to adults, I think.